वैश्विक संस्कृत मंच की सचिव डॉक्टर शिखा रानी जी को। शिखा जी मंगलाचरण के द्वारा कार्यक्रम को पुनः सर कीजिए। धन्यवाद डॉक्टर शिखा रानी जी।
जी मैम। अस्मिन् ऑनलाइन मंचे उपस्थितेभ्यः सर्वेभ्यः विद्वज्जनेभ्यः नमो नमः। मैम आवाज आ रही है मेरी?
डॉक्टर शिखा रानी जी, मैं आपको आमंत्रित करती हूँ मंगलाचरण के लिए।
मैम आवाज आ रही है मेरी?
मेरी आवाज आ रही है?
हाँ जी, आपकी आ रही है, मेरी पहुंच रही है आप तक मैम?
मेरी आवाज आप सभी तक आ रही है?
जी मैम, आपकी आवाज आ रही है, आदरणीय शिखा मैम की भी आवाज आ रही है जी। आगे
दोनों
बढ़े
लोगों की आवाज सम्यक रूप से आ रहा है मैम, आगे बढ़े
जी।
शिखा रानी जी मंगलाचरण के द्वारा कार्यक्रम को आरंभ कर दीजिए।
जी जी मैम। अस्मिन् मंचे उपस्थितेभ्यः सर्वेभ्यः विद्वज्जनेभ्यः अहं प्रणमामि, नमो नमः। इदानीम् अहं मङ्गलाचरणं कर्तुम् उपस्थिता अस्मि। ॐ येन द्योर्व्रा पृथ्वी च दृढा येन स्वस्तवितं येन नाकः यो अन्तरिक्षे रजसो विमानः कस्मै देवाय हविषा विधेम। ॐ प्रजापते न त्वदेतानन्यो विश्वा जातानि परिता बभूव यत्कामास्ते जुहुमस्तन्नो अस्तु वयं स्यां पतयोरयिणाम्। ॐ सानो बन्धुर्जनिता सविधाता धामानि वेदभुवनानि विश्वा यत्र देवा अमृतमानुषाणास्प्रति धामन् धैर्यन्ता। ॐ अग्निनय शुपथाराय अस्मान् विश्वानि देव वयुनानि विद्वान् युयोध्यस्मज्जुहुराणुमेनो भूयिष्ठां तेन मुक्तिं विधेम। ओम शांति।
धन्यवाद शिखा जी।
धन्यवाद मैम।
कार्यक्रम को आगे बढ़ाते हुए मैं सभी का हार्दिक स्वागत, अभिनंदन, प्रणाम के साथ इस कार्यक्रम को प्रारंभ करती हूँ। जयतु संस्कृतम, जयतु भारतम। I welcome you all on an online platform of Global Sanskrit Forum. The aim of the lecture series is to highlight the scholars who have contributed in propagation of Sanskrit language and literature. As we all know that this is the need of the hour to protect, preserve, and acknowledge the inevitable importance of Sanskrit language and literature. Keeping this view in mind, I proposed and I initiate this lecture series where we'll choose such scholars who have contributed for the Sanskrit, but still they are unknown, whether they have worked in regional languages or in Sanskrit itself. So the first lecture of this series is based on the contribution of Avudai Akkal, the saint poetess of 18th century, imparting the Advaita Vedanta concepts through folk songs. For this lecture, we have chosen a very capable assistant professor from Kuppuswamy Shastri Research Institute, Dr. Lavanya V. Ishwarji. She's working as a faculty member in Kuppuswamy Shastri Research Institute. As we all know that South has contributed immensely in the field of Sanskrit literature, language, Vedic studies, whatever the field is, South has the southern part of the India has contributed immensely. So I proposed and started this lecture series from South only. So in this connection, the first for delivering first lecture, Lavanya ji has contributed in UGC project series of 12 lessons under graduate student of India under NME ICT project 2016-17. She has participated in many national, international series, lectures, programs, symposiums, and also she is working in the publication in Kupuswamy Shastri Research Institute. So, without wasting one single moment, I invite you, madam, to deliver your lecture. Thank you, everyone. Madam, kindly unmute yourself.
Yeah, ma'am. I just open my PowerPoint. 1 second.
Yes, you can, ma'am. You can.
Yes.
Bottom of the page, you can see, ma'am, share screen. Click on it. Share screen.
Lavanyaji, your screen is not visible to us. This is the third option. First one is participant, second is chat, and the third one. Just first of all, click on your screen somewhere else.
Yes. I'm doing it now.
Okay. Okay, ma'am.
Yes. Can you see it, ma'am? Is it okay?
Yes, it is visible, absolutely. Just start.
Yeah. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Namaste to one and all present here. I'm going to speak on Avudai Akkal, the saint poetess. Swaprakash Sukaswarupam Danada Nidanada Shukti Rajatam Pol Jagamidaya Amada Aprakasha Avidyadi Avarana Yada Andrita Kamilla Akandara Sammeyada Swaprakash Sukaswarupam Danada Nidanada Shukti Rajatam Pol Jagamidayad Amada. Shri Avudai Akkal, one of the renowned Advaita ascetic and poet of the 18th century, was born in an Orthodox Brahmin family in Chengotai, Agraharam. Her parents named her Avudai, being the Tamil form of Gomati Amman, the presiding deity of Shankaran Koil near Chengotai, and raised her with great love. Keeping in trend with the tradition at that time, she was married off to a neighbor's son at a very young age, that she was even unaware of her groom, her formalized relation to him, or the meaning of marriage. When her husband died, she was not able to even understand why her family was weeping for the death of a neighbor's child, and reacted immediately. Why cry so much for a boy who has died in another house? Her first menstruation initiated her into the numbing rites of widowhood, such as tonsuring her head, mandatory white saree, confining to a dark interior room, preventing interaction with outside world, never-ending household chores, and lifelong denunciation as an inauspicious woman. She was despondent at the thought that such oppressive slavery was to be her destiny. The famous scholar and saint Thiruvisanallur Sridhara Venkatesha Ayyaval, a contemporary of Avudai Akkal, who belonged to the tradition of the Nama Sankirtana Siddhanta, was invited by the king of Travancore to conduct the worship of Lord Shiva on Mahashivratri. He set out with a group of disciples from Kumbakonam by walk and passed through the Chengotai Agraharam, where he was received with great respect and honor by the Brahmins. When he reached Akka's house, he found that the threshold was neither swept clean nor ornate with the traditional kolam, which implied the presence of a child widow in that house, and he stood there standstill, singing the name of God. Akka emerged out of the house like a swift arrow from a bow of a skilled archer, reaching its target perfectly, and fell on his feet, crying and begging him to release her from the miserable plight as a widow. Ayyaval empathetically told her to stop worrying and receive initiation from him from the riverside mandapam in the evening. The people witnessing the scene abused Akka for her shocking, courageous behavior and pushed her back into the house. They also confronted Ayyaval and rebuked him, saying that she is not eligible for any initiation from anybody, more so from a saint. Call it a spirit of rebellion or a desperation for self-realization. But for a young 14-year-old born to a conservative Tamil family in the 18th century and married and widowed even before her first menstrual onset, Avudai Akkal of Chengotai proved much ahead of her times when she broke the Lakshman Rekha of the boundary wall placed by her family and the society she lived in, and rushed to the feet of her master. Needless to say, this sight and the later disappearance to the mandapam closed the gates of the Agraharam forever for Akka. But to her good luck, she had a guru who saw through her and did not only lift her from her state of a miserable life of a widow in a traditional Tamil family, but gave her the Upanishad Mahavakya Upadesha, which released her soul from the terrestrial bondage of life and death and the horrors of a social order bent on annihilating the very spirit of a woman with its regressive rules and regulations cast upon women, more so a widow. Ayyaval is believed to have replied, if she is not eligible, then no one in this village is eligible for anything. Desire to know the truth is the only criterion for knowledge and not the nature of embodiment, male, female, widowed or married. As expected, she was ostracized from the Agraharam, but her guru allowed her to accompany him to Travancore. Akka had experienced the supreme Advaitic truth being near her master by the holy river Kaveri for quite a number of years. She began expressing this splendid experience through her songs. Her state of deep samadhi is legendary. Once there was a flash flood on the Kaveri bank which made Ayyaval's disciples flee for their lives. Akka, who was meditating there, blissfully stayed there totally ignorant of her surroundings. The surging river piled mud around her in a circular heap, forming an island as if respecting her deep meditation. Akka, accompanied by 3 of her intimate disciples, proceeded to Kutralam, where they all climbed the cliff by the Shenbaga Falls, wherein Akka gestured to them not to follow her further. She walked on, never to return. Her disciples waited for a long time and then searched for her, but there was no trace of Akka or her remains. All that was left was the priceless legacy of her songs, which were taught to younger women and thus kept in circulation. Her times. Avudai Akkal belonged to the early half of the 18th century when Tamil music was flowering with the efforts of the Tamil Trinity, Muthutandavar, Marimuthu Pillai, and Arunachala Kavirai. While these and other composers chose to sing songs in praise of deities like Nataraja, Rama, Krishna, we have Avudai Akkal, who composed and sang songs extensively on Vedantic themes. A very remarkable Advaitan of Akka's times was Sri Sadasiva Brahmendra, who was an Avadhuta. In a state of total absorptions on the banks of river Kaveri, he composed a number of high-class Sanskrit works like Brahma Sutra Vritti, Yoga Vritti, Advaita Rasamanjari, and so on. He had also composed a number of songs, out of which only 24 have survived. The extant ones are both Bhaktipara songs like Pibare Ramarasam, etc., and Jnanapara songs like Sarvam Brahmamai, which describe the sublime Advaita oneness. The Jnanapara songs are in line with Akka's exalted Tamil compositions like Anandamane and Nane. I will be showing you a few compositions of Akka as we go further into the talk. Compared to Sadashiva Brahmendra's works, a great number of songs of Avudai Akkal have survived till date. 75 Jnanarasa Kirtanas and many long compositions of Akka are available primarily because she utilized Karmapara, Karma Marga tropes based on women's household rituals and chores for instructing and describing the highest fruit of Advaita. We do not find her songs explicitly advocating or promoting Bhakti Marga, but one can read Bhakti in it. Going to her compositions, Avudai Akkal infused the intricacies of deep philosophical concepts, particularly Advaita, in her free-flowing songs, originating from the ordinary experiences of work and world of women. Her songs are in sharp contrast to the Shastric literature, its polemics, philosophical debates, arguments, and counter-arguments. She consciously chose to convey her idea in oral mode, spontaneous, vibrant, lyrical, and easily accessible to women who sang these compositions individually and collectively doing their household work. Even as she sang of the Supreme Brahman, she did not stop noticing the world, as she was deeply critical of the contemporary social and religious ritual practices, especially those related to purity. She was called an Unmatta, one who wanders like a mad woman. Spiritually intoxicated, she composed her songs while in this state. Her composition, Anubhoga Ratna Malai, is a lament composed when she heard of the passing away of her master, Venkatesha Ayyavad, which is filled with agony and stuns the readers with the heart-wrenching intensity of its pathos. A few women devotees, probably widows, attended to her when she was in the state of divine inebriation. They followed her, learned her songs, and passed this treasure on to other women. Slowly, her songs became known in every local Brahmin household. There may have been a time, perhaps, when the women of all Brahmin households in Tirunelveli district sang her songs. Now, this shows the collections of her songs. It has been printed as and released as a book called Sri Avudai Akkal Padal Thirattu, where you can find all these. There are around 40 songs. Then what we call as Kolatam, Ammane, which the songs which are being sung according to a particular in particular context, like with respect to Kolatam, Ammane, Pallu, Andi, Bandu. These are all these you can find more. This tradition can be found in mostly in South India side. Bandu, Kummi, Kappal, and then she has written a Kuruvanji drama. Then Gita Sara Sangraha, Bhagavad Gita Sara. So all these are compositions or collections. See, this Kappal Paattu is a boat song sung by travelers in chorus to overcome the fear of tides and to prevent the monotony of travel. Avudai Akkal has rendered Vedanta Jnanarasa Kappal and Vedanta Kappal songs. Kummi is a folk dance danced mostly by women in a circle, very simple but with rhythmic clapping or beating of drums. She has composed Vedanta Kummi and Chudale Kummi. The Chudale episode in the Yoga Vasishta is complete, being rendered in easy flowing language in a condensed form by her. Then Kolatam, a folk dance of southern India accompanied by striking together of sticks. Avudai Akka has in 10 stanzas composed a Kolatam song. And apart from these, there are lullaby songs. Avudai Akka, she has composed the Advaita Talattu, Totil Pattu to put children to sleep. The Unjal song is also composed mainly based on the concepts of Advaita. Now we move to the different compositions of Akka. I'm going to just show a sample of how she has composed the songs. Mostly, she has composed it in Tamil, but it is Sanskritized Tamil. More you can find Sanskrit terminologies, Vedanta terminologies being used in all her songs. So first we will see in all the songs that she has composed, she has talked about Vedanta. Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya is what she has emphasized in all her songs. Atma Jnana is what is important. Rest all is an illusion, is what she says. But finally, at the end of each song, she pays her respect to her guru, Sridhara Venkatesha Ayyawal, mentioning his name, like when usually these Swami Diksha, Tyagaraja, all when they have their compose their songs, they have their mudra in it, like Tyagaraja Muthuswami Dikshadhar as Guru Guha. Like that, Avudai Akka, in respect of her guru, in all her compositions, she ends it with mentioning or paying her salutations to her guru, Sridhara Venkatesha Ayyawal. So first I would talk about her songs dealing with the student-teacher relationship. So in this song here, there is one song she has written on her guru, on her teacher. So here she says, Andakan polave alaindu pirinda ennai aandavane gurunatha. So she says, wandering like a blind person without an aim, I've been wandering like that. So you have shown me, shown me the right path. Chindai magindida Shivapadam Aruliya Desikane. You have bestowed me the Shivapada, oh Guru. That's what she says. She pays her respects to him that he has saved her from the cycle of the samsara cycle and shown her the ultimate truth, what it is. So here, similarly, there's one composition which she says, Panditan Kavi. Panditan Kavi. Panditan here, she refers to a physician. Here she refers to her guru as a physician, and she says like how a physician treats a patient who has approached him with a disease, the diet he gives, the treatment he gives. That way, like this guru of hers has shown her what is the cause, what is the treatment, and what is the diet to be followed to get cured from the disease. So what are the causes? He says absence of vairagya. He says Guru naadikondu muruvaludane enna solven anadiyayundana ajnana noigalithu vandu adayavum visarikka thevayillai seekiramaga chindai panni tuvakkathile naan taan varittal sulabamai theernduvvidum. So he says in the beginning itself, it is the ajnana, the ignorance that has come. So once you know, you diagnose it in the beginning itself, it can be easily cured. Vairagyamillade vanda anarthamidu sanchita karmamidu twamagave irukkum ajnana naadi adikramithu nirkirathu. So he says vairagyam, there is no vairagya. Vairagya means difference, discrimination. Anarthamaga sanchita karma, because of the karmas of that has been accumulated. Then because of ignorance, janma vyadi pidithu aneka nanachadi dehatti. So janma vyadi, again coming into the cycle of birth and death. So when these are the causes, because of vairagya, because of ajnana, one comes and falls in the cycle of birth and death. So for that, what he says is the treatment. விவேகம் என்ற தாத்துவை காண கிடைக்கவில்லை, ஸ்ரத்தை என்ற நாடி சூக்ஷ்மமாய் தோன்றுகிறது. So viveka is not seen. Once you get viveka, your vairagya, detachment is removed once you get discrimination. Vairagya is detachment. It gets removed once you get discrimination. So ஆகையால் நீயும் போ, அறிவு கலங்க தேவையில்லை. We can easily cure. கை கண்ட ஔஷதம் இருக்கிறது நம்மிடத்தில். We have the correct medicine. So that can be applied. What is it? விஸ்வாசமுடன் வினயத்தோடே உண்டு வந்தால், if you have that, whatever medicine is prescribed, with belief, if you have that, சகல வியாதிகளும் சாந்தமாய் தீர்ந்துவிடும். All your diseases will be cured. That's what he says. And what does he say? ஸ்ரீ ராமஸ்மரணம் எனும் குளிகையதால் அச்சுத பக்தி என்னும் அனுபானமும் சேர்த்து. So Ramasmaranam is the kuligai. Kuligai means is the tablet. Achyuta bhakti enum anupanam kalmashangal por karunayudan atma jnanamagira aushada sanjeevi. What is the aushada? What is the sanjeeva medicine? Is atma jnana. So how do you get atma jnana? You have to first have discrimination, viveka, Ramasmarana, contemplating on Sri Ramasmarana, and all this leads to Atma Jnana. So this way he prescribes the medicine. And what does he say? What is the diet to be followed? He says, Dussangam vanduvittal abasam pole asayadu vanduvidum. So once you start getting dussanga, meaning bad company, asay vanduvidum. Again you will start desiring for something else. That will start, your desire will start growing. So what has to be done? That will lead you to the cycle of, again, you want to get something, the same cycle of birth and birth, until you don't achieve what you desire for. So Atmavile anudinamum chintai panni, start contemplating on yourself. Ratna parikshai dinandorum panni vandal sandegamellam sulabamai teerduvidum. Tattva chintanai sadakalamum panni vandal. So you can see the words that she is using here. Vivekam, Vairagyam, Tattva Chintanai, all these, Atma Swarupam, Sulabhamayirukkum, Ajnana, Avaranam, Attanayum, Basvamai Vidumendri, Ajnana, because of ignorance, Avarana, the truth, everything is unveiled, everything is veiled, it is hidden. So you have to remove it. So for that, Atma Swarupam, Sulabhamayirukkum, because of Atma Swarupa, your Ajnana gets destroyed. Our anbudane solli anugraham panni vandar. So that is what the Guru was giving her, the upadesha. So janma vyadi ellam தீர்ந்ததென்று கொண்டாடி தங்கள் தாளடிக்கே ஸ்ரத்தையை அதிகமுண்டாய் பவபயங்கள் போக்கி வைத்த பண்டிதனார் கவிதன்னை படித்தவர்கள் ஆனந்த சாகரத்தில் அமிழ்ந்து லயமாய் விடுவர். So this is what she says. Once you follow what the Guru has said, you finally attain the highest truth, following whatever the Guru has advised you to. So this is how, here you can see her knowledge she has in medicine also. The word she uses like kuliga, then we have other words like churnam, kashayam, all these she is using in this work, which shows she has knowledge of medicines also. So she views her Guru as a physician who will come and cure her disease and will lift her to the ultimate truth. So I already mentioned about this composition earlier. There is one called Anubhogaratnamalai. There it is lament composed when she heard the passing away of her master. So this work is also shows her respect that she had towards her teacher, Sridhara Venkatesha Ayyava. Now, the Vedantic terms, she has made use of them in her song. So see, I've just given a sample here. Nityoham, Muktoham, Mokshaswarupoham, Nirvikalpoham, Niratishaya Anandoham, Sarvamidam Parammoham. All these. Asangoham Endra Amarnda Samadhile. So, concepts of Vedanta are taught in a play mode. Then she has the Pandupattu song sung playing with the ball. She has also created a Balambika Pandu, hailing goddess Balambika. Now, I mentioned the game songs. This is one song I would like to show as an example for a game song. This is where they use the ball, 2 or 3 balls. You just keep rotating one of the other without slipping any one of them. You can see a person playing with 2 or 3 balls, rotating or tapping it continuously. So this type of song is called Ammanai in the southern side. So here, with respect, in keeping with that, she has composed this song where she brings out in a lucid manner how the world emerges from the supreme, the process of creation. So she says, மூலத்துக்குள்ளே முளைத்து முளை எழுப்பி மாயை அதுவாகி பறித்து பரிணமித்து சகல ஜகத்தை தெரிய விடாமல் மறைத்து 5 பூதங்கள் என்றும் பஞ்சவர்ணத்தால் இழைத்து கருப்பா சிவம் மூர்த்தமுள்ள அம்மானை. She says, மூலத்தில் முளைத்து முளை எழுப்பி மாயை அதுவாகி. So beginning from Maya emerging first, which சகல ஜகத்தையும் தெரிய விடாமல் மறைத்து. What does it Maya do? It transforms and heals the universe. 5 பூதங்கள் என்றும் பஞ்சவர்ணத்தால் இழைத்து. From Maya emerges the ignorance and the 5 gross elements. Then Karupai, Shivapai, Kalangamatra Vellayumal, the 3 gunas of Sattva, Rajas and Tamas with their 3 colors, white, red and black. So in this way, using these words, these concepts of Vedanta, the process of creation, she has brought out in this song, which comes under the genre of what we call as Ammane. Then we have Pallu and Kanni songs sung while working and protecting in fields. So she had the knowledge of agriculture also can be seen here. In this song, she says, Karmamagira kairum koluvum kalappai nokkalum eduthavan kalamagira kala irandayum poottiya erai கூட்டினான் பல்லன் ஏரை கூட்டினான் பல்லன். Here Pallan, the field worker, what does he do? Now, he first takes the rope, which is the karma, and yokes the bull, which are the kala time, to the plow and plows the field on all 7 days. That is what? Karmamagira kairum, kairu is the rope. Koluvum, kalappai, nokkalum, eduthavan, kalamagira, Kala irandayum. So kalamagira, kalam is the time. Bull, which are the kala, he plows the field on all the 7 days, 3 times a day, which represents past, present and future. So appropriate season, the seed sown in the field sprouts, aided by the rain, a replica of the process of jiva coming into the existence in this world. So this is how she has brought out here the process of jiva coming into existence in the world. Now the Kanni songs are sung by the guardians of the crops to shoo away the birds which perch on the ripe crops and eat them. She has also composed Kuil Kanni, Kili Kanni and Parapara Kanni. Now an example of the Kuil Kanni, here she says, she brings out the techniques of alleviating Maya. She says, she explains as to how all sorrow but is only a delusion of Maya. This Kuile song, கவலை எதுக்கடி குயிலே மாயா கல்பித்தமடி முக்தி வேண்டும் என்றால் குயிலே யுக்தி வேண்டுமடி பக்தி யுக்தியுமடி குயிலே ஸ்ரத்தையகாதுமடி ஸ்ரத்தையது ஆகுமடி பொறுக்க வேண்டுமடி குயிலே கொல்லாத துக்கங்களை. So here she says as to how all sorrow is but only a delusion of Maya. And if one yearns for salvation, the means is only bhakti, and that itself is Shraddha. That's what she says. Bhakti udikumadi kuile, Shraddhayadu agumadi. Then she says, all wretched sorrows will have to be borne and warded off with knowledge of truth and discrimination. Talla vendumadi kuile tattva drishti. Tattva drishti is the knowledge of truth. Then enjoyment of pleasures should be shunned and sensual pleasures should be given up. Verukka vendumadi kuile vishaya bhogangalai, irakka vendumadi kuile indriya vrittigalai. This is what she says here in this song. Then this is Kilikani here. She says, ஆனந்தமான பழம் அனவதியாய் கிடைக்க சச்சிதானந்தம் என்றும் கிளியே காணறியேதடி. சச்சிதானந்தம் ஆனந்தமான பழம் அனவதியாய் கிடைக்க சச்சிதானந்தம் என்றும் கிளியே காணறியேதடி. கிளியே காணறியேதடி. She says, this Kilikani here tempts one and all who sing the Kilikan to relish the fruit called salvation. She describes the fruit called Ananda, which is unsatiating and very smooth. Sachidanandam endrum kiliye, which is Kana ariyedadi, which is very rare, very difficult to be seen. How is it? Tegatadadi. It is not. It is one which is unsatiating and very, very sweet. Rare fruit, not got by searching, but by relished. It relished by one with the knowledge of truth. Arivullorukku ஆனந்தமடி கிளியே அதிமதுரமடி. What she says here. Then she has composed songs we call as elelo songs. Like elelo, you can see them using boat songs. They use the row and then to relieve them from the difficulty of the rowing. So that genre also she has composed. ஆங்கரத்தை ஏலேலோ அமுதி விட்டு ஐலேலோ அவனிதன்னில் ஏலேலோ ஆசையற்று ஐலேலோ பிள்ளை மேல் ஏலேலோ திரியமற்று ஐலேலோ புருஷன் மேலே ஏலேலோ மோகமற்று ஐலேலோ. So here she says, you have to get detached from all your surroundings to reach the ultimate truth. So avanidannil elelo asayatru elelo. Leave out the desire in this earth. All this is false. This is not true. Pillai mele elelo priyamatru elelo. Your son, your daughter, your husband, your wife, whoever is around, leave them. She asks, you have to be detached from all these attachments to reach the highest truth. So she says, Guruvai vande elelo, the Guru comes and saves her or from this samsara. So then we come to Vedanta Gummi. So Gummi, this song, it initiates young girls into 4 practices traditionally called Sadhana Chatushtaya. Sadhana Chatushtaya we come across in the Vedanta philosophical, which we say is Nitya Vastu Viveka, Iha Mutrartha Palabhoga Viraga, Shamadamadi Sadhana Sampat, which all leads to liberation, Mumukshatva. So this concept of these 4, she initiates this into young girls by means of a song, wherein she introduces the Vedanta terminologies to the girls. So if you see, Gummiyadi pengal gummiyadi agora samsara sagaratil ஜன்ம கடலை கடத்தினவர் பதம் சிந்தித்து கும்மியடிங்கடி தினம் வந்தித்து கும்மியடிங்கடி நித்யா நித்ய விவேகத்தினால் நிதி அறிந்து நினைவுடனே சத்தியமில்லை இக பரங்கள் என்றும் சாதித்து கும்மியடிங்கடி சதா சிந்தித்து கும்மியடிங்கடி சமதபங்களுடன் கொண்டு நல்ல சாதகமாம் உபரதியுடன் சமாதமா திக்ஷா உபரதி. All these comes under the sadhana shat sampat. So she uses this terminologies, nitya nitya vastu viveka, iha mutrartha, what I said, she uses them here, and she says, அத்வைத பிரம்மத்தில் ஐக்கியம் என்பது யாருக்கு உலகத்தில் ஆகும் என்றால் அத்வைத ஞான அறிவுள்ள பேர்களுக்காமென்று கும்மியடிங்கடி அவர்களுக்காகமென்று கும்மியடிங்கடி. So she says Adhyaropa, Apavada, all these terms which we come across in philosophy, in Vedanta, she uses them in the songs. She teaches, she has initiates these young girls into these practices by way of this kummi, and so that they get to know that the truth, what it is. Avudai Akkal, she stands out because she helped women access Vedanta when it was considered a man's domain. She simplified the terse text for women by using domestic metaphors. In one song, she says, she explains the rigor of Vedanta through the process of producing castor oil. Castor seeds are highly poisonous. To produce the oil, the seeds have to be treated, boiled and filtered again and again. Unless you process the vidya, boil and filter it, you can't drop the a from avidya and attain vidya. So you have to use the same technique, she says. In song after song, she celebrates the joy of freedom, the realization that no shackle of any kind, even the restrictions of widowhood, can block one from attaining ultimate liberation. She wanted women to understand what liberation is, what widowhood is, through the metaphors they were familiar with. In her songs, she completely rejects ritualism and caste and gender-based hierarchies. In her one composition called Parapara Kummi, she addresses the Absolute Supreme to describe her spiritual journey and the heights of spiritual attainment, while also describing the hypocritical and devious ways of the world. This Parapara Kummi is important because it is one of the extant songs incorporating a detailed and direct critique of the oppressive values and customs that Akka understood intimately from her personal experiences as a stigmatized child widow. Then we have, so we saw Vedanta Vande, Parapara Kanni. Yeah, Kuil Kanni, Parapara Kamni. So I've just given a sample of few of her compositions. She has also written one called Brahma Mekam, where she says, அந்த மாயா குணம் சொல்லி துளையாது ராமராமா, இந்த ஆச்சரியத்தை யாருடன் சொல்வேன் ராமராமா, வந்த வலையில் சுழலாத பேருண்டோ ராமராமா, கள்ளச்சூதும் கபடம் வினைகளும் இதற்குண்டு ராமராமா, எந்த தேகாதியும் இந்த விதமாச்சே ராமராமா, he says. மூடத்தனமான புத்திக்கு இருட்டென்றரெங்கள் தேசிகர், ஞான மேகமாம் புத்திக்கு சந்திரோதயம் என்றரெங்கன் தேசிகர், கூட்டஸ்தான பரபிரம்மம் வஸ்துகான் எங்கள் தேசிகர், குரு அகண்ட வெங்கடேஸ்வர மூர்த்திகான் எங்கள் தேசிகரே. So in every song, she talks only about the concept of Maya, the Janma Marana, the cycle of birth and death, then how a guru can save you or bring you out from the cycle of samsara, what has to be done. So every song she brings only this Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya concept, finally paying her respects to her guru, and she says with the grace of the guru, one can be one can reach the state of the ultimate truth. Then in one of her compositions, which is a Kuravanji drama, she has written about Bharata Desha. She says, காலம் மூன்றும் கடந்திடும் நாடு கர்ம பந்தம் ஒழிந்திடும் நாடு போல எல்லை இல்லாதொரு நாடு பூரிக்கும் ஞான கொடுத்திடும் நாடு ஜாலமாயை தவிர்த்திடும் நாடு தபஸ்விகள் வந்து சேர்ந்திடும் நாடு பால சூரிய பிரகாசமான் நாடு பாபம் தீர்த்திடும் நாடெங்கள் நாடே. So he talks about how Bharata Desha is. அண்டபிண்டம் அவருண்ட நாடு வாக்கு மனசுக்கு அப்புற நாடு பண்டையுண்டான பாம்புள்ள நாடு பிரளய காலத்தும் பேராத நாடு. She talks about how பக்தி மார்க்க வழியுள்ள நாடு பிரம்ம ஞானியர் சேரும் நன்னாடு முக்தி முத்து கொழிக்கின்ற நாடு முமுட்சு மோட்சம் அடைகின்ற நாடு சிந்தம் தெளிந்தோர் எடுத்து பக்ஷித்திடும் நாடு சித்சார ஞானம் பழமுள்ள நாடு சத்திய ஞானானந்தம் தானாகவே மிஞ்சும் சம்பூர்ணமாகிய நாடெங்கள் நாடே. So how is our Bharata Desha? She says Bhakti Margam வழியுள்ள நாடு Brahma Jnaniyar. So the Bhakti Marga is prominent. Brahma Jnaniyar said there have been lots of saints who Brahma Jnanis. Mukti Muttu Kolikinra Nadu, Mumukshu Moksham Adeginra Nadu, Chittam Telindor Edithu Bakshikum Nadu, Chit Sarajnana Padamulla Nadu, Satya Jnananandam Tanagave Minjum Sampurnamagiya Nadu. So this is how our Bharata Desha is, even that she has brought out in this song. Then she has also devised a board game which is called Panchikarana Kattam. Panchikarana Kattam, based on Adi Shankara's treatise of same name for women. The abstractions of Vedanta creation doctrine forms the concrete of this. It is the concrete form of the play. The playing field here is a broad geometric template of Kattam, what we call as squares. The game was played following a manual created by Akkal with players reciting relevant stanzas at the game proceeds. The Kattam delineates the process by which 5 basic elements, Panchabhutas, space, air, fire, water, and earth, move within the ongoing universal cycles of Srishti, creation, and Laya, reabsorption. The playing field consists of 7 foldable wooden boards, a horizontal spread template upon which Sanskrit and Tamil philosophical terms are all inscribed in Tamil. Using small shells as counters, the players systematically negotiate a grid of internally linked metaphysical axioms laid out in a sequence of diagrams. So, previously I mentioned that it was made of wooden boards, but now at present this is what is being used. They have used papers, and this is how the game is. The board is. You can see elderly women playing the game. This is survived till date. So, Panchikarna Kattam is a deeply symbolic construct depicting Leela, the unceasing cosmic game in which no player wins or loses and in which all participate equally. This extraordinary game affirms Akka's experience of self-realization as well as her intellectual grasp of Advaita. Her logic of presenting the process of creation and its subsequent retraction in the form of a game was perhaps intended to remind the players of the transient nature of the world, their samsara and their existential suffering therein, that will ultimately and permanently disappear like morning dew with the dawn of jnana or true knowledge. The Kattam delineates Vedanta creation doctrine, but also in a manner both exact and exhaustive. It describes the relationship between the mind, the body, the intelligence, the psychic apparatus, and the senses, between macrocosm and microcosm, exteriority and interiority. Regardless of what material it is made of, when unfolded, the unassuming board suddenly expands into a magnificent enunciation of ontological truth. As the players engage in the game, shell by shell, square by square, verse by verse, they create and dissolve the outer and inner cosmos in alignment with an interwoven metaphysical, symbolic, and natural order. At any point of time, the players, spectators can raise questions about the meaning of a term inscribed on the grid or embedded in the manual's verses. Anyone can suggest the answer, and the answer can be freely disputed or analyzed or debated. For instance, does Akasha mean ether or space? What is the difference between Rethas and Medas? So such types of questions can be put and answered. The game stops when a question is raised and does not proceed till a clear answer is reached or till a consensus emerges about the interpretation of a specific term on the board or in the manual. When opinions are deadlocked, the players resolve the issue through recall of their early training. Don't you remember what our teacher said about the meaning of this word? Deliberations continue within the group until the meaning is settled to everyone's satisfaction and game proceeds. When the game is laid and the play begins, they allow the manual of the game to overtake their subjectivity. So this is how the game, thus informally paralleling the formal Shastric tradition, each set of learners is trained through an unbroken parampara. In life and in memory, these learners revere their living teacher and they extend this reverence to the Kattam, the teacher who does not die and who ensures that spiritual learning continues through an alternative, more inclusive genealogy of knowledge transmission. So, we saw a few compositions. We saw the game Avudai Akkal has done. So many such songs inspiring and imparting knowledge to people. Avudai Akkal was a realized soul who wanted each and everyone to experience the joy that she experienced. So she composed songs of day-to-day activity, instructing the principles of Vedanta in a simple regional language understandable to a child or a layman. The women of that Shengote region, they have picked up the terms not only randomly, but have understood these terms largely because of their familiarity with Akka's songs. Her songs were essentially a part of the oral performative tradition of women. So she is not a single historical person, but a community of women. She is a Jnana Shakti aspect of feminine in Hinduism. She is enriched and enriches the philosophical and mental health of people. She has been an inspiration for freedom fighters like Subramanya Bharati and Sage Maharishi and others, maybe even people like us. She has worked for the uplifting of people in two main aspects of material and eternal aspects of life. She has rendered services as a duty. Some of the incidents are recorded and available to us. Many are still to be unveiled. The methods of teaching the highly philosophical concepts are well exhibited in her songs. In many of her songs, she invokes and exalts her guru, but there is absolutely no mention of her in any of the biographical accounts of Ayyavaz, not even by her contemporaries. It is a puzzling omission in the cultural record, particularly when the lives of her contemporaries like Bodhendra, Paramashivendra, and Sadashiva Mendra have been documented. For 200 years or more years, Akka songs were sung, circulated and preserved for posterity by women, especially widows, who gained knowledge and immense comfort from her compositions and from the awareness that Akka herself had undergone during the grim life of a child widow prior to her initiation by her master. So with this, I conclude my lecture on Sri Avudai Akkal. I thank the Global Sanskrit Forum for giving me an opportunity to bring out this great saint poet or poetess, Sri Shengote Sri Avudai Akkal, from the southern part of India. Thank you very much.
धन्यवाद लावण्या मैडम जी। निश्चित रूप से आपके इस व्याख्यान ने, your lecture was a complete compendium about Avudai Akkal. Basically, I just want to let you, everyone who's presented here, last 3 days in Ganganath Jha Parisar of Allahabad, Ganganath Jha Rashtriya Sanskrit Sansthan Parisar, the director, he just said this is the need of the hour, that we should communicate the Sanskrit Shastras through simple languages. Now people should understand Sanskrit text in a simple languages. Simple translation is the need of the hour. So we Sanskritists, this is our duty to tell the people that this much we have in our tradition, this much we have in Sanskrit language and literature. So I hats off to you. I congratulate you because you have given such a vast knowledge. This is a complete paper. I admire you. You have illustrated every single principle in her song, Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya and the Atma Gyan, through various songs or her composition like Advaita Ras Manjari, Brahma Sutra Vritti, Yoga Vritti, as well as different types of poems like Panditan Kavi and game songs, Pallu and Karni songs, and through this moral teachings as well as Vedantic philosophy tradition, knowledge of Vedant philosophy tradition is complete in your lecture. You have given such a vast knowledge, such a large span of knowledge, a large scale of knowledge. We really need such knowledge which is already delivered, already stated in regional languages. So I thank you for such informative and valuable lecture. And I congratulate you for the success of this lecture, because you have taught us, you have told us about a lady who was the inspiration. She not only works for the Vedanta philosophy, but also she has she was an inspiration for freedom fighters also, and she has worked for the material and eternal aspects of people for upliftment of their life. So I thank you as a convener Global Sanskrit Forum, and on behalf of this Sanskrit Forum, Global Sanskrit Forum Manch, thank you very much, madam. It was quite informative and very good lecture. Thank you so much.
Before we finish, I just like to offer my thanks or my respects to two persons who have already worked on Avudai Akkal in this south side. I have taken more information from what they have. One is Madam Kanchana Natarajan, a professor in the university in Delhi. So she did a 2-year project totally concentrating on Avudai Akkal. She had delivered a lecture demonstration recently here in Madras in the Music Academy. So I had a chance to listen to that. Then we have, I have 2 or 3, talks have been rendered here by 2 or 3 people on Avudai Akkal. I had a chance of listening to them. So I gathered from all whatever they had said, and from this book, this collection of her songs that we have. So, and I thought she is now becoming familiar here. I thought she should be familiar everywhere. I had a good platform here to show or bring about the greatness of this saint poetess Avudai Akkal. Thank you very much, ma'am, for this opportunity.
थैंक यू मैडम। मुझे लगता है लेक्चर की किसी भी व्याख्यान की सार्थकता इसी में है कि जब उसके बाद उससे हमें जो ज्ञान मिला वही उपादेय है, वही महत्वपूर्ण है, जिससे हम आगे की भविष्य की योजनाओं पर कार्य कर सकें। तो कार्यक्रम को समापन की ओर अग्रसर करते हुए मैं धन्यवाद ज्ञापन के लिए हमारे मंच के कार्यकारी सदस्य डॉक्टर त्रिपुरारी ठाकुर जी को आमंत्रित करती हूँ, जो ग्लोबल संस्कृत फोरम के महासचिव के रूप में कार्यरत हैं। आदरणीय डॉक्टर त्रिपुरारी ठाकुर जी, धन्यवाद ज्ञापन के लिए मैं आपको आमंत्रित करती हूँ।
बहुत बहुत नमस्कार मैम, धन्यवाद मैम। यद्यपि इस तरह के व्याख्यान कार्यक्रम का धन्यवाद ज्ञापन करना अपने आप का पाप भागी होना होता है, मैं तो ऐसा ही समझता हूँ, क्योंकि इतने सुंदर विस्तृत ज्ञान की गंगा के प्रवाह को रोकना धन्यवाद ज्ञापन से, यह पाप तो मैं करूंगा, लेकिन इसी आशा के साथ कि इस तरह की जो ज्ञान की धारा है वह आगे भी प्रवाहित हमारे समक्ष होती रहेगी। बहुत बहुत आपका आभार, धन्यवाद डॉक्टर लावण्या मैम का, जिन्होंने इस प्रकार से डॉक्टर श्री अवुदै अक्काल जी के कृतियों के माध्यम से कृतियों को हम लोगों से परिचय करवाया। यद्यपि मैं कुछ मेरा इंटरेस्ट दर्शन में रहा है, तो मैं सदाशिव ब्रह्मेंद्र सूत्रवृत्ति को देखा। तो सदाशिव ब्रह्मेंद्र सूत्रवृत्ति और 16वीं शताब्दी के प्रौढ़ देवराय वृत्ति, जो एक वृत्ति है, जो प्रौढ़ देवराय द्वितीय की वृत्ति है, ये दोनों साम्य रखते हैं। उसमें श्री अवुदै अक्काल जी की चर्चा होती है कि उन्होंने किस प्रकार से, और मैम ने भी इस चीज को बताया कि उन्होंने अद्वैत जैसे गहन दार्शनिक तथ्यों को लोक गीतों के माध्यम से, लोक संगीत के माध्यम से उसको प्रतिपादित किया है। यह एक कठिन काम होता है कि जैसे ब्रह्म सत्यम जगन मिथ्या, इस तरह के जिस दर्शन के सिद्धांत हो, वैसे सिद्धांत को कहा जाए कि लोक माध्यम से जो जगत को मिथ्या कहता हो और जगत के तथ्यों के द्वारा उसको प्रतिपादित करना, यह किसी संत का ही काम हो सकता है। इसीलिए आपने इस संत के कृतियों को हम लोगों से परिचय कराया। लावण्या मैम, आपका बहुत बहुत आभार, और हम सभी धन्यवाद ज्ञापित करते हैं आपको। और इस तरह के अननोन स्कॉलर कार्यक्रम के संयोजिका डॉक्टर रेणु शर्मा मैम का बहुत बहुत आभार, धन्यवाद मैम कि आपने इस तरह के कार्यक्रम को आयोजन करके रिसर्च के नए नए आयाम को आपने एक द्वार दिया है, एक मार्ग दिया है, एक पथ दिया है कि जो भी अद्वैत वेदांत के छात्र होंगे उनके लिए बहुत सारे विषय, आज के रिसर्च के विषय आज के कार्यक्रम में उनको दिखे होंगे या लक्षित हुए होंगे। और हमारे इस कार्यक्रम के हमारे उत्तर प्रदेश प्रांत की अध्यक्षा आदरणीय तुलसी मैम के प्रति हम सभी कृतज्ञता ज्ञापित करते हैं, एवं इस कार्यक्रम के मंगलाचरण कत्री परम विदुषी डॉक्टर शिखा रानी मैम के प्रति हम भी आभार ज्ञापित करते हैं। और हम सभी को माला के रूप में पिरो के रखने वाले डॉक्टर राजेश मिश्र जी का भी हम धन्यवाद ज्ञापित करते हैं। यद्यपि यह कार्यक्रम समय को व्यतिरेक कर चुका है, इसीलिए ज्यादा समय न लेते हुए पुनः आप सभी उपस्थित यहाँ सभी वृंदों का पुनः एक बार हार्दिक धन्यवाद ज्ञापित करते हुए यह मंच डॉक्टर रेणु शर्मा मैम को समर्पित करता हूँ।
धन्यवाद त्रिपुरारी जी। मैं अपनी ओर से 2 पंक्तियों में सभी का हार्दिक स्वागत करती हूँ। आदरणीय अध्यक्षा मैम और आदरणीय डॉक्टर श्री राजेश मिश्र जी, त्रिपुरारी जी, और साथ ही मेरे छोटे से निमंत्रण पर मेरे निमंत्रण को स्वीकार करने वाली लावण्या मैडम को मैं बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देती हूँ। आप सबके सहयोग के बिना इस कार्यक्रम की संकल्पना भी संभव नहीं थी। बैठे बैठे एक विचार उत्पन्न हुआ, संस्कृताय जीवनमिदं, संस्कृत के लिए यह जीवन है, कुछ भी कर सकें, कुछ भी दे सकें, तो इस महायज्ञ में हमारी एक आहुति तो जानी ही चाहिए। इसी उद्देश्य के साथ इस कार्यक्रम को, इस श्रृंखला को प्रारंभ किया गया है। मैं आशा करती हूँ अधिक से अधिक ज्ञानवर्धक व्याख्यानों का इनमें आयोजन किया जाएगा। कार्यक्रम को समाप्त करने से पूर्व शांति पाठ का आह्वान करती हूँ कि हम सभी सामूहिक रूप से शांति पाठ करेंगे। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः।